Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of How to Become a Doctor. My name's Matt Duris. I work as one of the pre-med advisors in the College of Science. I'm also joined here by our Director of Pre-Health Programs, Mr. Robbie Bowen. If you missed our first 2 weeks, we definitely encourage you to go watch them. We're going to be building off of them every time we meet. So episode 1 was about the competitive applicant. Episode 2 was a timeline and Mcat DAT. So go on our Moodle page. If you're not part of it, go to lsu.edu/science. Under the student tab, hit pre-med, and then join our phase Moodle page. On the left, you'll see how to become a doctor series, and you can watch those recordings. But without further ado, we will talk about this week. So this week, our topic is about what resources can I trust? Because there are a lot of people that say a lot of things about medical, dental optometry school that are true, and a lot of things that maybe are not true or a little deceiving. And so I'm now going to pass it off to Mr. Bowen to teach you and train you what resources you can trust.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining us. So hopefully you're finding these presentations that we're doing on these Wednesdays to be helpful and informative. We're trying to present information that we typically are asked, or the information that we find most students are searching for. So hopefully it's been worthwhile for you. And if you have any suggestions or things you'd like to see us cover, please let us know, and we'll look into doing that. But today's focus is really on information, and where do you go to get information that you can depend on and rely upon as accurate. We here as pre-med advisors, we are constantly hearing things that are out there, just kind of in the pipeline, things that students are being told or hear, and they'll come in and ask us, and we're always like, where did you hear that? Where did that come from? And typically it's a friend told me, I saw something that somebody had said or written on the internet, on a different website or whatever. And so, people are well-meaning. I think that people try to provide, useful information, but it's not always accurate, or it's not always up to date. So you always want to make sure that the information that you're relying on, that you're acting upon, that you're using to make decisions or to figure out how to proceed, is always coming from sources that are verifiable and are accurate. So we're going to talk a little bit today about a couple of different ways that you can get information that is accurate. And the first thing we're going to show you are a couple of the national associations. So all of the medical and dental optometry, podiatry schools in the country have an umbrella organization that they all belong to, a national association that all of the different medical schools or dental schools participate in. And these national associations are sort of the voice for the medical or dental schools in the country. They are any kind of updates or changes that come through the pipeline in terms of application requirements, testing, the Mcat, all of those types of things, the DAT, they're all handled through this national association. And so each of these associations are very useful in terms of not just general information about the career or the career path, but they also always have sections specifically devoted to pre-med, pre-dent, pre-optometry students. And these are great resources because you know that this is coming directly from the collection of admissions people involved. And it's going to be always accurate and up to date. If it's seen on a website like this, you know that it's verified and it's true. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to share my screen, and we're going to look at some different associations. The first one I'm just going to bring up, and if we don't get to all of them for your particular field, just know that there's going to be a national association for optometry, for podiatry, for whatever your field. But the one that I'm bringing up is the Association of American Medical Colleges. That's the National Association for the medical schools in the United States, the MD, allopathic medical schools. And if you scroll down, so there's a lot of just really good information if you just want to go and read about what types of research is going on in medical schools around the country. There's information about all kinds of policy and governmental things going on with medicine. But for you as a pre-med, If you scroll to the bottom of the page, there's a section for students and residents. There's an entire information section about the Mcat. What's on the Mcat? How do you register for the Mcat? How do you register to get signed up? What do you do for the testing day? All of this is available in the Mcat section. And then there's also a section on applying to medical school. So if you go into the applying to medical school section, this is where you're going to find all of the information about what you are looking for, information at just your stage in the process. So if in the applying for section, like taking the Mcat, doing all these different types of things that you can do there. Anything you need to know about the Mcat, you can find right here. But it also has some really helpful things about choosing the medical career, just general information about how to choose your career. There's an entire section about that. What are the different medical paths, specialty areas, what types of career options? Not everybody has their own practice and sees students. Maybe they do other things. Maybe they're in academic medicine. Maybe they're teaching at a medical school, or they work in the military. So all the different types of options for careers. In the applying to medical school section, there are other things that you can look at in terms of there are like personal stories. They'll feature a different student who's currently in medical school and sort of talk about their journey to medical school. Just take some time to go and to look here. There's all different types of stories that hopefully, maybe are a little bit more in line with you and your situation. Maybe you're a non-traditional student. Maybe you've been out of school and you're going to a post-bac and just things like that. Maybe you're interested in the MD, PhD. But I think if you scroll to the bottom of the page, there's just some like medical school 101 is a really good section right there, because it's just, what's medical school really like? How do you, what's the curriculum like each year? There's information about fee assistance if you need help in covering the cost of your application. So this is how you do that. You can apply for fee assistance, which waives a lot of the expenses involved in applying. You get a fee assistance to get a discounted rate to take the Mcat. If you get the fee assistance, it waives a lot of the fees with the AMCAS medical school application, the national application, and then all of the individual secondary applications are waived. So this is a really, really good resource for information about not just what's advice and what do I need to do to be a good competitive applicant, but practical things. How do I get fee assistance? What if I want to do an MD, PhD program? So definitely take advantage of these things and try to, when you're bored or you are, don't have something going on, this is a good thing to just go and just click on all the different sections and look around to do that. Another feature that I want to, in this website at AAMC, each of the medical schools also have these sort of all-encompassing information guides. For medical school, it's the medical school admission requirements, or sometimes you'll hear it referred to as the MSAR. The MSAR is a collection of information regarding every medical school in the United States and Canada. And you can go to these websites and say you're interested in applying to any particular school. It will have all the information. So we're going to bring up the LSU Med School and just kind of give you an example of the information that's available for each school. So if we just clicked on the LSU Medical School in New Orleans, and you'll kind of get an idea. It has all the deadline dates and all of that. How many students do they accept? But it typically provides just kind of a general overview of each school, just general information. What are the admission requirements? What types of letters do they require? Do they have an early decision program? What are the deadlines? Just general basic information. And then on the menu bar to the left, you can look at specific admissions data. So if I click on this admissions data, it's going to give me all of their averages. What is their average MCAT score? What is the range of scores of students that were accepted to their particular school? In each of the different subtest scores, the GPA, what are the ranges of GPAs of students who were accepted? Matriculation, how many people went there? What's the makeup of their class? How many of them, how many interviews did they offer? How many applications did they get? How many people accepted? The demographics talk about what is the makeup of the class, male to female, different racial and ethnic backgrounds, and just all kinds of information about the general classroom acceptance. So I want to just stop here and just look, here's an example of something that we hear a lot. Somebody will say, well, I saw that, New Orleans accepted somebody with a 3.19 grade point science GPA. And so that's probably true. Obviously they have it listed there. But, does that mean that if I'm at 3.19, I have nothing to worry about or anything like that? You always have to realize that someone who has these lower GPAs, this is one variable in the admission consideration. In our first presentation, we talked about the well-rounded applicant, and we talked about all the different aspects that go into the admissions decisions and how to get into medical school. So probably this person with 3.19 had incredible credentials in other areas. Maybe they have been an EMT, maybe they were a medical responder in the military, and they have been doing that for 6 years, working on the front line in the military as a medic. So there's always going to be variables to that. And so the danger that students have sometimes is hearing one bit of information and assuming that that is all encompassing and the true thing. You always are going to want to focus on the little blue circle. What is their average? What's the typical GPA that's getting in? And you don't necessarily have to be there, but you want to be close. And so there are always going to be outliers. There are always going to be exceptions to everything, to every rule. But you don't want to build your foundation hoping that you're one of the exceptions. You want to strive to do that. So other things over on that menu, you'll see like education and research that usually talks about the curriculum and how it's set up. Lectures, is it online? Those types of things. The tuition aid and debt talks about what there are you can find out the tuition rate if you're in state, out of state. The percent of the students who receive some type of financial aid. And other information like that, the average debt of their graduates, and then some information kind of about the living conditions and cost of living in the different cities and that you might be looking at. And then the campus life is really just more about, how their students are involved and engaged, what types of programs do they have, are there any specific special student organizations or things like that they do? Do they have a student-run clinic? Things of that nature. So this is where you want to go for information about a particular school. So if you are looking to apply to a school in New York and you've never been there, you can go and look here by state, and it will tell you every school in that state, and then you can click on that information. So there's a similar thing like this for dental schools. It's on the American Dental Education Association, ADEA. Is the same thing that we're showing here for medical school. It's the same type of thing for dental schools, every dental school in the USA and Canada, and same general types of information. So this is the best resource, the best time, best place for you to go and find out what does Vanderbilt University Med School want in an applicant? What are they looking for? How can I be competitive? And so this is going to be the best place to do that. The other area that you want to think about is there's a website called Explorehealthcareers.org. It's all one word, Explorehealthcareers.org. This is kind of a clearinghouse of all the different health professions that are out there today. And it's an interesting website because it lets you kind of explore all the different types of careers. It tells you exactly what the career outlook. What is the career outlook for an osteopathic physician, for example? What are the training requirements? What are the schools? You can find links to all the different schools in the country, the different academic requirements, tuition averages, starting salaries. So just all the different types of health careers, not just medical and dental, but speech pathology, pharmacy, physical therapy, those types of things. So if you're looking for some, parallel options, the parallel plans that you want to do, this is a good website just to go do some exploring in different areas. Or maybe you're trying to decide, do I want to be a PA? Do I want to be a doctor? Do I want to do all those? So each of these different sections here, you can click on that and go read about that particular health profession. And it's just, all types of information about how to become this particular thing. And we always encourage students to have those parallel plans. Your goal is dental school, but what's some other options about things I could see myself doing, and making sure that, you leave as many doors open as possible. So this is always another good resource. And then the final thing that, we'll talk about is, pre-med advisors. I mean, we're here to help you and to be that kind of liaison between you as a student and the health professions schools. So you're seeing our website on the screen, and the pre-med website that we have there just has some general information, how to schedule an appointment with us. To make a one-on-one appointment time, we do 30-minute appointments. Our appointment schedules open on 1 week at a time. Every Friday, we open our schedule for the following week. So if you look and we're full this week, check back on Friday and try to do advising for the next week. When you are scheduling an appointment for our pre-med information, you want to select as the reason for your appointment on Navigate pre-med advising. That's going to bring you to mine and Matt's schedule for you to see an open appointment for pre-med advising. Pre-med advising is really geared towards helping you with the medical dental school process. We're not here to advise you about the degree requirements for your biological engineering major. We're not really here to talk about academic plans in terms of how you should lay out your schedules for the next, 4 semesters. Our focus in these meetings is, how do I make myself a strong candidate? What should I be doing this time to be ready? We obviously can talk about the academic side, but we're not your academic advisor for your degree if you're in a psychology degree or whatever. But this is open to any student from any major, any college. You do not have to be in the College of Science to meet with us about your pre-med, pre-dent journey. So this is a way for you to connect with us. So as pre-med advisors, we are, pre-med advising is a specialized area within the general academic advising, and we belong to a national association called NAAHP, NAAHP. It's the National Association of Advisors for the Health Professions. And so because we are members of that organization, we have access to the different professions, the medical schools, the dental schools. All of these national associations have these planning committees that talk about admission requirements, testing, and there are pre-med advisors from National Association of Advisors for the Health Professions who sit on these committees. And so we're able to get the firsthand information directly from them when changes are coming down. We get informed before it's announced to the public. So it's a great way, a great resource for us to make sure that we're still giving information that is correct and that is current. And so that's why it's important to talk to us as pre-med advisors rather than, a general advisor. Our general advisors are not necessarily going to know the specifics that we do. We have a great working relationship with all the admissions directors of the medical and dental schools in the state. We talk to them frequently. Hopefully you were there last night to hear the deans of admissions from the LSU medical schools at the AED meeting. And so, we're able to kind of have an open pipeline to talk to them when we need to find out information, and they're going to notify us of things that are changing or going on. And so that's why, the information that we give you is going to be the reliable information. So those are kind of the resources, but I want to kind of transition to, some things that you want to think about. So just in getting general information, you have to think about current trends. So maybe you have a parent who went to medical school or dental school, 10 or 12 years ago. And the advice that they're giving you, although well-meant and, sincere, may not necessarily be relevant anymore. I've heard all kinds of things from people who said, my uncle told me, blah, 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 he's a doctor and he told me this. And like, that doesn't even happen anymore. So things are changed. Things are much different than and much more competitive than medical and dental school admissions, from even 10 years ago. I've been doing this for 20 years, and the changes and the competition, the level of how ratcheted up competition has been for medical and dental schools gets higher every year. And so I hear things all the time that my uncle said, just to take the science courses I need and apply early, I don't have to worry about graduating. Well, 99% of students getting accepted to med schools right now have at least an undergraduate degree, and more are having graduate degrees. And so applying without finishing an undergraduate degree is very, very rare in medicine and in dentistry. There are some other fields like veterinary medicine and things like that where they have, these early admission programs where you can actually finish your undergraduate degree as part of the curriculum. We don't have any programs in medical or dental in the state of Louisiana, and they're very, very rare nationwide. It's just not happening anymore. And so you definitely need to be working towards an undergraduate degree. So I was on a panel a couple of years ago with just about medical professions that was sponsored by the Honors College. And there was a doctor there, and his advice to students was, don't worry about taking all those things like English and history and stuff like that. Just take all the sciences and then apply when you get to 90 hours. And, that's not happening anymore. Last night at the Dean's Convocation, they talked about the value they place in a well-rounded education in courses from the humanities and the social sciences and things of that nature, and the qualities and skills that you learn from that. So just make sure that the information that you're getting is coming from reliable sources is the underlying message here. Just because something happened to your friend doesn't mean that that's going to be the case for you. Every application cycle is different. Every application is different. Every person's situation is different. So just because your friend got in with this particular Mcat and this particular GPA, that is only one factor in many, 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 many things that are being considered. And so, just keep that in mind as you're navigating your journey towards medical school. The other thing is, test preparation companies like Kaplan and Princeton Review, and there are actually consulting firms that you can go to help you write your personal statement and to help you turn yourself into competitive applicants. Always keep in mind that these people are for-profit businesses. They are in business to make a profit. And so, their underlying motivation is earning money. And so no slam on them, great people, but their information is always going to be geared towards getting you to buy their product or to subscribe to their program. And so go to the source, go to the medical and dental school websites, the admissions website at each school, the National Association, the MSAR, or the Guide to Dental Schools, Explorehealthcareers, things of that nature. The other thing that I hear a lot of quotes from are things people say I saw on studentdoctor.net or some other website that is a discussion forum, or where anybody who's not vetted, we don't know who those people are. They're anonymous and they're posting all these types of things that, just because you see it on there does not necessarily mean it's true. It's not verified information. And keep in mind, people who post there either had a really, really bad experience and they are mad and they want to make everybody know, or they had like a perfect experience and they want to say things are, perfect. And neither one of those things are true. So the source of your information is very, very important. So I think we covered that, and we'll just kind of see about questions or other discussion points that we have today.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that, Robbie. And, I think you make some great points there of going them straight to the source, verifying with the parent organizations. Do you mind obviously we mentioned AMC and ADEA. Would you mention just the umbrella organizations for osteopathic, podiatry, optometry?
Yeah, so for osteopathic, it's AACOMAS, AACOMAS, which is the American Association of Colleges of Osteopathic Medicine. Optometry has a website too, like a group too. It's OSCO, the Association of Schools of Osteopathic Medicine. I think it's ASCO or something like that is their website. Podiatry has the Colleges of Podiatric Medical Association. So if you just go in and Google medical school application, medical school association, their websites are gonna come up. But we're not talking about the national, like for doctors, the American Medical Association. These that I mentioned today are the schools. So it's the Association of Medical Schools, of Dental Schools. It's not the American Dental Association or the American Medical Association. It's the Medical College, Association of American Medical Colleges, the American Dental Education. So you want to make sure that you're looking at the school associations, not the profession association.
Awesome, great. So of course, we can look on, students can look on, medical dental schools, direct websites for information. Those could be great. But what kind of questions maybe would be appropriate if you're reaching out to an admissions office? What are maybe some questions you could ask a med admissions office, and maybe ones that would be inappropriate?
Well, I think that, they have their websites for a reason to share information, and they, if a student is interested in that med school, they are going to probably assume that you've read the information on their website. So when you go and you pose a question that is clearly mentioned on their website, it's not a great reflection on you, because that information is very readily available, and you're probably going to get a very terse reply like, this is on the website right here. So make sure that you spend time reading all of the website, looking for particular information before you contact them to ask a question. You don't want to be embarrassed by asking a question when it's clearly spelled out on the very front page of their website. So first thing is, read the website, look at all the information. And when you do not find the information that you're looking for, then by all means, they will generally have a generic admissions at LSU HSC or something like that, where you email. That goes directly to somebody in the admissions office who will monitor that email, and they will respond. But you don't want to ask things that are, readily obvious on their website. That's also when you're interviewing, you want to go and spend time at the website, because you want to be informed. You want to know about the different programs they have. And they're always going to, at the end of any interview, they're going to say, do you have any questions for us? And you want to have some questions for them that shows I have been proactive in going out and finding out something specific about your school. So, I read on your admissions website that your students participate in a community clinic. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? How do I get involved in that? Is that something I can do as a first-year student? So that lets them know you've done research, you know about the school that you're interviewing at, you've been proactive in going and doing that. I think appropriate questions are maybe things about you have something in your particular application that's unique to you. You want to know, will you accept, this particular course to fulfill the requirement for your statistics course? For example, I took a second semester of calculus. Will you accept that as your requirement for admissions? Anything that has to do with that. How do you handle something that, I'm doing a summer research program. How do I, report that on my secondary application? Things of that nature are always valid. Specific things about your individual application are questions on your application, but just make sure you've read and it's not addressed already before you ask the question.
Great. Yeah, the last question just has to do with student organizations. You mentioned a few here, but what are some of the student organizations where you can find good information about dental, optometry?
Well, I think that, for example, for dental students, the Pre-Dental Society here, every year, the Dean of Admissions from the LSU Dental School comes and does a presentation just for the members of the organization. And they provide an entire presentation on how the admissions office is organized, how they interview, what their interview timeline is like, how they view an application, what are they looking for. Same thing for AED, the Pre-Med Honor Society last night was their dean's convocation with the medical school deans. So those types of organizations who have a particular mission, they're for pre-health students, they're for pre-dental, they're for pre-optometry, the Pre-Optometry Association, AED. They're going to have resources directly from admissions people who will annually give an overview. They'll give you updates. I know in a couple of weeks, AED, there's going to be a mock interview where the Dean of Admissions at LSU New Orleans is going to demonstrate an interview day. Like, what is an interview day like? What is an actual interview with an admissions committee member like? So those are really useful ways that you can go and get some insider information direct from the person who's going to be making the ultimate decision. So anytime you see something like that, where there's a dean of medical or dental school that's going to be on campus giving a presentation to student organization, you want to go. The student organizations, you can attend any of the meetings, are open to any LSU student. You don't have to be a formal official member to attend. Now, they're going to have some requirements if you want to be an official member listed on their membership roll and you want to get inducted into that organization. There are going to be some requirements that you have to meet, but the general meetings that they have are open to any student. That's always going to be, how you find out. Not only do you have other students sitting next to you who are in the same boat and who are, you can find, study partners, you can find people, who are in the same area that you are, working towards the same goal that you are. And so, just hearing about things, oh, are you going to the health fair next week? Oh, I didn't know about it. Oh yeah, that's just where you can get word of mouth. But also you're going to be every semester, there's going to be presentations from the medical school deans.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for attending or watching our third episode. Definitely join us for episode 4 on October 27th at 1:30. We'll catch the recording. And
just let me throw in a plug. If you're getting ready to apply, you're going to start the application process next year. Like, you want to start medical school in 2023. That means you're starting to apply next summer of 2022. We will be having some information meetings about getting letters from the review committee, the LSU Pre-Medical Pre-Dental Review Committee. If you want to go through that process and to get a letter from us, we have meetings that are coming up in November. So make sure you're on the lookout for those dates and that you attend one of those meetings if you are a junior typically, or you're going to start applying at the end of the spring semester.
Awesome. Thank you. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye.